Join us at the free Ag PhD September 15th Field Day on the Hefty Farm near Baltic, South Dakota. You'll see a live tiling demonstration including the installation of a lift station, weather permitting. There will be a tile design class and strip till demos too. For complete details and to register, go to agphd.com. Our weed of the week is Velvetleaf, and I love how Darren tried to throw you off a little earlier by saying that this weed is resistant to a lot of herbicides.
Well, it's tough to kill.
Yeah, it is tough to kill. There's nothing that's, I mean, it's not technically resistant to anything that I know of, well, but it is like Roundup. You're probably not going to get it with a quarter Roundup. You're probably not going to get it with a half or 3/4 pint of Banville.
But wait a second. Why do we have to kill every single one? You know, Velvetleaf is probably the softest leaf weed I've ever seen. It's one of those weeds that, you know, if you're out and...
Yeah, great, Darren. Let's just let them go to seed. That's a great idea.
I'm not saying in your field, but I'm just, you know, off in the nowhere land that, you know, maybe off in this grass here, you could let a couple of them go because they are really kind of a neat weed.
I think something's wrong with Darren today. All I know is if it's a weed, we want every one of them dead, period. So what are we going to use? Let's start in corn. What would you put down? What would you use post?
Well, here'd be my choice in corn. Something that's got either Callisto or Lautus in it. There are a lot of different combinations.
But what are you going to do pre?
I know, Brian, but when you're talking about controlling this weed, if you can get some residual down with one of these products, they have got excellent residual. You put them down, you said, what's the best thing I could put down? That's what it'd be.
Yeah, but that's not enough. If it was me, I'd get some Python out there. I'd get some Balance Flex or something.
Those are good options too. But
so you could also throw a half pound of atrazine post-emerge.
Okay, well here's the other thing. A lot of guys are using Sure Start and Triple Flex, and they work very well on Velvetleaf down, and then you don't have very many later on where maybe the Roundup can handle it if you can thin them down substantially. In soybeans, it's the same thing. I like to use Python in the soybeans. I think it works great pre, but you could also use something like Optil where you have some Pursuit in the mix. Yeah, just does a nice job with soil applied control.
Just make sure you don't get too much Pursuit out there and have a carryover issue.
Well, the other thing that you could do is you could save your Pursuit for post-emerge and use something like Extreme, which has come way down in price from a year ago.
Yeah, it's dirt cheap now. But anyway, the other thing is Resource or Cadet. They're fantastic post-emerge.
In either corn or soybeans.
Right. Now, if you had wheat, what would you do?
In wheat, Velvetleaf isn't a big problem. Let's face it. You could use Husky. It'll wipe out your Velvetleaf problem.
That'd probably be the
best. And then the
best.
wheat will choke out the rest.
Yep, and you could start with something like Sharpen Down early if you had a major problem with Velvetleaf. Well, once again, our weed of the week is Velvetleaf. Make sure you stop it on your farm.
That's it for our weed of the week, but Iron Talk is coming up next.